fire. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wilson County Commission Board. Today's date is Monday, May 12th, 2025, 9:00 a.m. For the minutes, for the record, we do have full board, we have quorum, and before we begin, we'll have our prayer and our pledge. Commissioner Martin, would you lead us in prayer?
Bow your heads. God our Father, we thank you for today. Lord, this is a beautiful day here in Wilson County. We thank you for the rain that you've sent our way recently. Lord, we just ask that you bless us with some more. And Father, as we conduct court today, we just ask that we do things in your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Agenda item number 3, we have public comments. We have Mr. Tommy Terry, so you have the floor.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in this morning to represent Brand Masonic Lodge over in Laverne. We have National Memorial Day observance on the 26th of this month. I cordially invite you all to attend. And that's all I have to say. Didn't come to complain about anything.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Terry, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Agenda item number 4, certificates of completion awards and bond continuation. We have a certificate of completion for the B.G. Young Institute of County Governments Awards certificate to Kristen Lavis for having completed 14.5 hours of educational training at the Auditors Institute. We have a certificate of completion for security and privacy for Gail Ritchie. And a Western surety bond for the deputy election clerk of Wilson. And it is for Sarah Chris Bettis. Do you need me to sign this?
No.
Okay. Put those in record. Agenda item number 5 are extension activity reports.
Good morning, everyone. You have our complete April activity reports, and Samantha and I are here if you have any questions.
Gotta ask you one more time about those trees.
Yes, we are still working on getting, so,
It's not over, right? Thank you. Okay.
no, there is some, I mean, it's inevitable, but there's not with what you've sent and what we've seen, there's not. And honestly, what I'm working on is the Forest Service in Kerrville has a specialist that does outreach, and I'm trying to get on her schedule to get her out here to do, drive around through as much of the county, the whole thing, and let her assess what she's just seen, and then have a day that she does a big open forum of, everybody come, let's talk about your trees. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, but yes.
I wouldn't say oak again.
What about the gentleman in Guadalupe County? I don't remember his name, but he lives right over towards New Berlin. He came out and looked at our oak trees one time. He's
Was
pretty
he,
much an expert.
was he with an extension?
Yes,
Was it Travis Frankie? Was it the agent there in Guadalupe County?
yes.
Yes, I've talked to him, we had a program on Friday, and we had some tree conversations, but I haven't really asked I will. I'll give him a call this morning.
I know he was very knowledgeable. We had some oak trees we lost a few years back, and he came over, and, yeah, super nice guy, great guy.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Good. Thank you, ladies. Agenda item number 6, we have Philip Walker Air Med Care. Is he not here? Well, he was supposed to be here to give a presentation on, I believe it's a membership for AirLife, their AirLife program. It's very affordable, but that's all I know about it, so we'll skip over that. Maybe you're running late. Agenda item number 7, we have Doris Morales from Camino Real, discuss and take action on presentation of proclamation for May as Mental Health Awareness Month. I think, Mr. Arnau, you're the speaker?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ernesto Arnal, and I'm the Wilson County Children and Adolescents for Camino Real. With me is Doris Morales for the Community Restoration Center. Belma Moreno, the adult clinic director here in Wilson County. We also have Amber, who is the Veterans Peers Service Coordinator, and Stephanie, who is our recovery coach. We just want our community to know that we're here to provide compassionate professional support for both adults and children who have been experiencing challenges with their mental health. Whether facing anxiety, depression, stress, trauma, and there are any other emotional or psychological difficulties, our team is committed to walking alongside you on your journey towards healing and well-being. You are not alone, and help is available. We welcome individuals and families to reach out and take the first step towards a healthier, more balanced life. The Wilson County Mental Health Awareness Proclamation, whereas mental health is a vital part of every individual's overall health and well-being, and mental health challenges affect people of all ages, backgrounds, and walks of life, including here in Wilson County. Whereas recent events, including the tragic loss of a young member of our community, have reminded us the urgent importance of mental health awareness, education, and accessible support for individuals of all ages. And whereas suicide is preventable, and by working towards to promote early intervention, reduce stigma, and provide strong community support systems, we can save lives and bring hope to those who are struggling. Whereas fostering open and compassionate conversations about mental health, especially among our young people, is critical to healing, resilience, and long-term prevention. Whereas Mental Health Awareness Month, observed each May, is an opportunity to honor those we have lost, uplift those who are struggling, and commit to building a healthier, more connected, and informed community. Whereas Wilson County is dedicated to supporting mental health initiatives in our schools, homes, churches, and public institutions to ensure that no one feels alone in their time of need. Whereas Camino Real Community Services will provide free mental health education and training opportunities to schools, agencies, and general public to strengthen awareness, prevention, and community support. Whereas we can all residents take actions, whether by checking in on loved ones, seeking support, participating in free trainings, or advocating for mental health resources. Together we can break the silence, offer hope, and save lives.
All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to accept the proclamation, and I'll finish the proclamation out if accepted.
Motion to accept.
Go ahead.
Motion to accept the proclamation proclaiming May as Mental Health Awareness Month in Wilson County.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner Cardola. Any other discussion regarding agenda item number 7? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. Now therefore, I, Henry L. Whitman, County County Judge of Wilson County, do hereby, on this day of May 12th, proclaim the month of May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Wilson County. You want to photo it? Yeah. Move to agenda item number 8, Brenda Trevino, our county auditor, discussion only on presentation of fiscal year 2023-2024 external audit by Robert Carter Leal and Carter PC.
Yes, Commissioners and Judge, I've got Robert Carter here, who is our external auditor. We have completed our fiscal year 23-24 audit ending September 30th, 2024. And so he's got some good news to share, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Carter. And you should have a copy there of it's the bound copy. We're not on our mid-year report yet. It's the bound copy that I provided to you.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Yeah, we actually have, there's 3 reports altogether. There's a 2-page report, a 3-page report, and then a bound copy. I'm going to briefly just go over these reports. So the first 2-page report is an examination report. And this is basically all the counties that received all those rescue plan funds. We don't necessarily need to do a full-blown single compliance audit, but we do an examination, which we basically just look specifically at those funds. And so this is the required report that we issue. It is a clean opinion with respect to the grant requirements. We had no exceptions in our test work. The county is in compliance with respect to these grant requirements. The next one is the 3-page report, which is the required communication with governance with the commission. It summarizes the results of the audit. Under significant audit matters, there were no changes in accounting policies or procedures from fiscal year 24. There was no new accounting pronouncements that affect the accounting for fiscal year 24. Right under that, those bullet points are your accounting estimates. And these were the same as last year. There's no changes to your accounting estimates for depreciation expense, compensated absences, fair value of investments, bond discounts, and premiums and allowances on your receivables. Next page over, under difficulties encountered in performing the audit, we had none. I want to commend Brendan or staff again for providing us with all the required, requested audit information. It's quite a lot of information, and she provides it very, very promptly, very quickly, to ensure our audits are issued on a timely basis, so I do appreciate that. Under They're corrected, uncorrected misstatements, all audit adjustments have been posted. These financial statements have no misstatements. We had no disagreements with management. We had no consultation with any third parties. There wasn't anything with respect to the audit where we had to look for a second opinion or anything like that. So there was no outside consultations. Under findings, we had no findings with respect to final examination. We also conducted a state single audit. I'll go over that in a little bit. We had no findings with that as well. The only finding I had is a financial finding. It's not a compliance finding. It's on page 64. This is essentially on these custodial funds. So the various departments keep the records on these. These are mainly like the district trust funds and the sheriff's forfeiture funds. They maintain their records, but they're not on the county's Encode software. Now, a majority of them are. There's only about 3 or 4 of them that you don't keep on the books. So everything needs to be in control of the auditor. So I know Brandon's working with them to get them to transfer those. Basically, we'll make a one-time adjustment, let's say 25, and get them on the books, and then that'll be the last time I report on that. But I do have to bring that up.
May I clarify? So you
Yes.
know what that is. So what that's referring to, there are 3 officials who have their own bank accounts, and that is Sheriff Stewart, Don Barnett, our tax assessor, and our district clerk, Debbie Bryan. Debbie processes trust funds, Don collects taxes, and the sheriff collects for forfeiture and commissary. And so while I audit those accounts, those monies are not entered into financial intelligence, into our system. And so we're working with Robert on ways on how we can record those transactions because they each have their own method of accounting. Don uses QuickBooks. When we pull those records, so what we're going to do is just add a one-time entry every month of debits and credits so that it reflects in our records, in our own financial software. So that's what.
And I do want to clarify, as far as you mentioned the transactions, so the revenues are picked up. You
Yes.
record the revenues, it's just the cash balances. So it's a matter of basically just making, like I said, a one-time entry, debit and credit. And in this case, they're not the county's funds, they're called custodial funds. Basically you're holding them, and then they're going to be remitted. So, but we do need to make sure that they get in control of the county auditor, which, like I said, is something that we'll propose to do in 25.
Okay.
On the financial audit, in the balance report, I'm going to briefly go over some of the highlights of that. On page 1 is our auditor's report, it's our opinion on the financial statements. And you see there's an index of all the opinion units that we audit. Unmodified was essentially a clean opinion. With respect to those, we're saying we had no exceptions on these. These funds are fairly stated in accordance with U.S. accounting principles. The only one, again, we had an exception with is with custodial funds, which, again, we'll remedy in 25. On page 13 is the county's consolidated balance sheet. And this is on the required full accrual basis of accounting, they call it government-wide format. We're picking up all your current assets and then also your long-term assets, such as your fixed assets and your debt. So for fiscal year 24, county had total assets of $46.4 million, and those primarily consist of cash of $24.1 million, investments of $8.9 million, tax receivables of $1.4 million. You also have a account trade trade receivables of $784,000, and your fixed assets net of depreciation were $11.1 million. Under that is a category of deferred outflows of $1.1 million. These are prepayments into the pension plan. Since you guys do participate in the Texas County District Retirement System, they issue their financial statements in December, and we have to true up their numbers to coincide with your fiscal year. And so that's what we do there. We make various entries into the books so that they're trued up as of September. And any contributions after December, from January to September, are essentially prepayments into the plan. Under that is the liabilities. You have $21 million in liabilities. Those primarily consist of $1.7 million in payables. The $9.6 million, this is the unearned revenues. These are the grant revenues. Essentially, these are the funds you haven't expended as of today, as of September 24th. They have given you those funds and you're holding them, and you're budgeting them accordingly on your prospective projects as you go on through the year. They're basically earmarked for those funds, so that's why they keep them in that unearned category. Your debt, that's your notes and your bonds, were $5.2 million. And then you also have your pension liabilities. Those are the pension, and then what they call OPEB. Those are other post-benefit benefits that like retiree and health insurance. Together, those are $3.6 million. Under that category is deferred inflows or resources of $2.3 million. Again, since the plan is dated in December, the actuary issues their report in December, and then any additional expenses in that plan are accrued. So that's what the $2.3 million is, basically additional accrued expenses into the pension plan. So the net effect of applying these assets against the liabilities is a category of net position. That's your equity, which was $24.2 million. On page 14 is your income statement. Again, this is on the government-wide format, full accrual basis of accounting. On the very first column are your expenses. Those were $28.7 million. That also includes $2.3 million in depreciation. I'd just like to stress that, since you guys don't typically depreciate depreciation. What depreciation is basically like an annual allowance, what it's going to cost to replace your assets. So that's something that's non-cash, and it's not a budgeted item, but I know you guys, when you do your budgets and you look at overall expenditures, I do like to indicate that about $2.3 million is not part of that $28 million there. Under program revenues, your charges for services were $3.8 million. Your operating grants contributions were $4 million. On the very far right column, under general revenues, you had $24 million in general revenues. That's primarily consisted of your property tax revenues of $21.6 million. And you also had investment earnings of $1.7 million. So if you apply these expenses against the program and the general revenues, the change in that position was a surplus of $3.1 million. And that brings down to the resulting net position, the equity of $24.2 million. Overall, going back to page 13, if you look at the county's balance sheet, your overall health, as far as your financial health, you guys are in good shape. Your assets to liability ratios of a little over 2 to 1, so that's obviously a good ratio to have. Whenever third parties look at your financial statements, they like to make these ratios, especially the banks. So that's something that is very good. And over as far as your income statement, that surplus of $3 million, even if you net out these the grant money, the $9.6 million, you got well over 12 months of working capital. And again, that's exceptional for our county. So just to let you know that you guys are in good health, and obviously you budget your money well. I'll open it up. For the state audit, I just wanted to go over so you'll see there on the compliance audit on page 67. These are the list of the state grants you received. So consequently, since they were over $1 million, the threshold is $750,000. That's why we were required to do a state single audit. Essentially, we looked at the compliance features of these grants, and we exceptions with respect to compliance on these state grants as well. I'll leave it for our discussion.
Robert, can you share with the court, I don't know exactly where it's in here, about, I think it's on page 4 regarding the county's fund balance? The unassigned fund balance for the general fund?
On the overview,
On the management discussion and analysis?
right, the MD&A?
Mhm.
Yes, so, like I said, that fund balance is a pretty exceptional fund balance. Essentially, what that tells me is, again, is you guys budget your funds well, and, for a county to have that kind of a fund balance, we do, a lot of different counties, and in comparison, you guys have a very, very generous, very healthy fund balance.
So what kind of ratio should we strive for? Because we've been dipping into that somewhat every year.
Right.
Trying to return that money back to the taxpayers. So what is an appropriate ratio?
Well, to me, the main thing is looking at your working capital. So your budget, as far as your operating budget, if you look at across the board, was around $2 million a month.
Mhm.
So what you want to do is making sure you have at least 3 months of working capital, which would be around $6 million. You guys are
In the fund balance?
right. Well, the way you look
Or
at the
are
fund
you
balance,
looking at it as? in
I'm
cash
looking at
reserves?
overall. So some of these assets are fixed, and some
Right.
of the debt, you're required to pay that debt. So some of this money is basically, we're looking just at the static funds is what you can actually use. And so when I say fund balance, you have 24.2 million, but 5 million of that is in your asset, in infrastructure. Another 5 million is basically, again, used for grant purposes. So what you have is about $12 million in what you unassigned unrestricted funds. So if you look at it from a standpoint of you're going to 2 million a month, then you want to, for 6 months, would be around $6 million. So you guys would basically get $12 million. About half of that would be able to be something that you could dip into as far as in future budgets, if you want to basically stay, fiscally healthy.
And our unassigned fund balance as of 9/30 was the 15.9 million.
Okay, that's on the fund level basis.
Yes, just on the,
So-
in the general fund.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we do is we have to do these entries to get them on a full accrual basis, meaning
Right.
we have to take the assets and the debt. But if you look at your fund level statements, and this is what you're more familiar with, is when you do your budgets, what Brenda's alluding to is on page 15 and 16.
Randy, we've always maintained at least 12 million in the fund balance, correct, in the last couple of years?
We've, since I've been in office, we've tried to maintain at least 6 months of operating expenses, in the general fund, and we have significantly increased that year over year to put us where we are now. And, over the last, it's been 2 years now that we have budgeted from the fund balance, last fiscal year's budget and this fiscal year's budget, to allocate money to each of the road and bridge precincts from that for road repairs. So, yeah.
Right, that's the unassigned portion, just to what Brenda was alluding to, the 15.9 million is your unassigned in your general fund.
So can you enlighten us as to the questionnaire that we received, and did you receive responses back from everyone on that?
I did too. And again, and as far as there's no financial impact related to those.
Did you receive my letter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you address that in there somewhere?
I did. What we There's, on the related party questionnaire, on our, in our notes to the financial statements, we'll indicate, again, we corroborate with your attorneys, and in the litigation page, on page 54, since we're your accountants, we can't necessarily give you an opinion on any kind of legal matters, but when we do get a legal letter from your attorneys, and they disclose that information to us. So in that, we do indicate there's various claims and litigations outstanding, but as far as under their opinion, there isn't anything there that's going to potentially impact the county.
My question is more to, I guess, would apply to your corrected and uncorrected misstatements, so that you find
Audit
any,
adjustments.
yeah, that you find any in the information that I provided to you.
Yes, sir. And those are in our audit adjustments, everything has been addressed within those audit adjustments, what Brenda has, and she'll be more willing to give you those adjustments.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Thank you, Robert.
Brenda has my information, if you guys want to contact me, discuss anything with respect to the audit, I'm more than willing to answer any questions. Thank you.
And agenda item number 9, we have Ms. Brenda Trevino, County Auditor, discussion only on presentation of mid-year financial report for Wilson County.
Okay, gentlemen, this is my mid-year October 2024 through March 31st, 2025, a mid-year review of the state of Wilson County. I provided you a letter that references Local Government Code Chapter 11425 that shows that we are in compliance by providing you this report. Page 2 of the report that I gave you, I broke it down in your top 5 revenues of where we are as of March 31st. The top 5 revenue sources, excluding interest earned, are ad valorem taxes at $16.7 million, which represents about 64, almost 65% of revenues received to date. Tax and auto commissions at $243,000, county clerk fees at $157,000, landfill fees is $145,000, and federal prisoner reimbursements at $133,000. We did receive revenue for the first half of the year in the amount of $737,219, which represents almost 3% of the total of, and all of those combined represent about 70% of the revenue just in the general fund alone. You'll see that we budgeted $26,060,000 in general fund revenue, and we are at 18.1. And then I just gave a definition of each of those for anyone who's not familiar with what each of those means or what the revenue, where the revenue comes from. One that was added this year compared to last year was the landfill fees. So landfill fees are higher this year than they were last year, so they made the top 5.
Is our land,
I broke it out to you in the next page.
she didn't hear you.
Yes, sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Her landfill, is it positive, negative? Where are we at on that?
So you're gonna see as we go along, I've got it broken out, that's just the revenue side, you're gonna see the expense side, so that's really, we'll know more by September 30th as it kind of evens out. Right now, once we get to the expense side, we'll take a look at that and see where we're at comparatively to, okay?
Thank you.
I broke it out into just a chart for you to see compared to where we were at this time last year in fiscal year 2024. Fiscal year 2024, we had an adopted budget of $16.3 million of revenue, and at this time last year, we had collected $15.1 million. This fiscal year, we have a budget of $17.9 million, and we have collected $16.7 far. I thought it was interesting also to note that you'll notice that the majority of the collections are made during the first quarter of the fiscal year, so October through December. Fiscal year '24, we collected almost 72%. Fiscal year '25, we collected 74%. So comparing 11.7 million last fiscal year to collecting 13.3 million this fiscal year in the first quarter. So we are doing good. That budget to actual comparison, what that means that those percentages, the 7.3 and the 6.5, mean that that's what's remaining to collect. So we are doing very, very well in collecting our ad valorem. The next page shows our tax and auto commission. Again, we compared to this time last year, we are ahead. Last year we were at 132,000 collected, and this year we collected 243,000. And the budget, we had increased the budget. Last year's budget was 725,000, and this year I budgeted 950,000 based on where we ended the year last year. So I believe we are on target. Those numbers seem to be going in the right direction. So I believe we'll be hitting our target there. County clerk fees is on the next page. Compared to fiscal year '24, where we collected $147,000 at this time, we collected $157,000 year to date. And so not too far under. We did budget less in revenue compared to where we were by the end of the year last year. So where we budgeted $350,000 in revenue last year, we budgeted $300,842, and so we're right around that halfway mark. So doing really well in the county clerk's fees as well. On the landfill revenue, last year we budgeted $240,000, and this year we budgeted $226,000. I decreased that based on where we ended the year. However, you'll see there that at this time last year we had collected $96,839, and year to date for fiscal year '25 we've collected $145,000. So we only have about 36% remaining. So I feel confident that we're definitely going to meet or exceed the revenue collected for the landfill fees. A lot of people cleaning out their garages.
Well, we also adopted a increased fee structure that was applicable to the fact that we were paying for people to come here and then having to just
Sure.
take it for no markup to San Antonio anyway, so.
Right. Page 7 is our federal prisoner care. Now this one, we are a little bit under that. There are a couple of reasons behind that. So this time last year, we collected $530,100. This year, we've only collected $133,830. Last year, we budgeted $900,000. I've reduced that to $800,000 this year. So last year, this time, we had already collected about 41%. This year, we've only collected right around 20%. And some of the billing is behind, and I know the sheriff is working on that. And then the sheriff may be able to attest the number of federal prisoners that we've housed, since October may have decreased, and that could very well be affecting these numbers as well. It is one of our top 5, but it is lower. It is on the lower end of where we are in terms of budget to actual.
I just signed a renewal contract because I'm going to start taking female inmates, correct?
Male.
Male, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you got
we got the
There's
females.
going to be an
We used to-
increase coming in.
And right now, I think we're only handling about 10
Yeah.
to 12 federal prisoners. And really, at our current status, we can't handle any more right now because we're running an average of almost 140 in the population, just off our normal. So we're in that point where we may not, because of jail size, we may be almost to where we can handle federal prisoners if we're not.
Whereas before that we used to house, 20 plus federal.
Or 40, yes.
Yeah,
Since our county court of law and district courts have gotten pretty busy, our jail stays pretty full of just local inmates.
And another number that's not captured, how many do we have from Gonzales County, if any? Are there,
Last I checked, we still were holding about 7 or 8 from them, which was, I forget how much that was a month. I saw it last month or 2.
I'd have to.
But I know that we're getting a little bit from them, yes.
right,
But we may have to turn them back too if we stay too full, so,
and I mean, if we get full, we get full.
yep.
Yeah. Page 8 is our interest revenue, compared to fiscal year '24. At this time last year, we had collected $841,000. We've collected $737,000 this year. I did, significantly increase that budget to $500,000 based on where we ended last year. But we are still above, way above what we budgeted in expected revenue for, interest. So we're really grateful for that amount, but we are at almost 150% over what we budgeted in revenue for interest, so. The next document is your schedule of revenues for all departments and funds. So you'll see there in the general fund that we budgeted $26,060,000. We've collected overall $18.8 million. So overall in the general fund, we've collected almost 73% of budgeted revenue. Our road and bridge funds are right on target as well. Road and Bridge Precinct 1 on a budget of $1.7 million. We've collected $962,000, which is about 54% collected. Precinct 2, Road and Bridge, $2.8 million was budgeted. We've collected $1.5 million. Precinct 3, we budgeted just a little over $2 million, and we've collected a little over $1 million. And Precinct 4, we budgeted $2.1 million, and we've collected $1.1 million. So doing very well on the revenue there. And then I just broke out the other funds, our library fund, and then our special revenue funds. And then down at the bottom are our agency funds, which is our bond, Fourth Court of Appeals, the hot check fund, to give you an indication there. So revenues are on target. We are doing very well. On the expense side, which is your next page, page 10, and it actually runs into the next 3 pages, page 10 through 13. These are this is a schedule of expenses broken out by departments. The first section is the general fund. Typically, what I like to look at and keep an eye on is to ensure that all of the departments are at 50% or less. And as you can see, if there are any, so for example, you'll see fire departments is at 50, almost 53%. Well, the fire department is not an actual employed department within the county. Those are payments that we pay out. So those are going to be higher expense items. But all of the departments that are within the county, that are budgeted, you'll see there are well within the 50% or below. The next page breaks it out. So overall in expenses, just to give you a percentage-wise in the general fund, we're at 39% expense. So that is good. We are effectively managing our budgets. I also broke it down by road and bridge precincts. You'll see for expenses, we budgeted 1.78 in precinct 1. We expensed as of March 31st, $348,000. So that represents 19.5% of precinct 1's expenses that have hit the books. Precinct 2 on a budget of $2.8 million has expensed $868,000. Precinct 3 on a budget of $2,067,000 has expensed $983,000. And Precinct 4 on a budget of $2.1 million has expensed $1,068,000. So overall in the road and bridge funds, almost 37% has been expensed compared to what's been budgeted.
Has nothing to do with it, but it has everything to do with it. We don't have working oil trucks right now, and so we're not able to take and build roads the way that we want to, we would probably be farther along in this if we had them.
Absolutely.
So, just to let the public know and to be transparent, we're,
Page 12, then again, just breaks it out, the library expenses and then our special revenue funds, and then where we are with our bond as well. The last page, I'd just like to provide you a copy of where we are for our debt service schedule and where we are for fiscal year '25. You'll see there that we've paid our first principal payment for the year and interest, and then we'll have one more interest payment due of $88,350 due August 1st. And we are about halfway done in paying off our bonds, so we're doing well there. Overall comparison, percentage-wise, total budget, we have received 50% total revenue budgeted for the entire county, and our expense total is 35% as of March 31st. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Agenda item number 10, we have Ms. Brenda Trevino again. Discussion and possible action on the request from the Livonia Municipal Development District for hotel occupancy tax fund.
Okay, April 28th, 2025, I received an application from the Livonia Municipal Development District. The Livonia MDD exists to support small businesses, grow the local economy, and improve quality of life for residents. They invest in events, infrastructure, businesses, and community projects that make Livonia a vibrant place to live and visit. And their mission is to build a stronger, more connected future for Livonia. Every project and event that they take on is designed to create lasting benefits for their community and local businesses. They have requested for this.
$50,000.
So the date of their events or project, they listed 2025, 2026. I don't know if this is a combination because they did request $50,000. This may be a combination and maybe getting ahead of the game for requesting funds for this year as well as next year since they listed 2026. I don't know if Ms. Felicia Carvajal is here.
Ms. Wheeler, she's here.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see you over there.
Okay.
Uh,
Would you like me to speak to that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Well, let me go through the application, then we'll have you come up and tell us. Thank you. So one of the questions we ask in the application is how the funds will be used. They are stating that the HOT funds will be used to support Livornia's major events, specifically the 4th of July celebration, the Hometown Hoedown, and Christmas in Livonia. And this is to cover costs associated with headlining musical performances, firework displays, vendor markets, security personnel. They have 100% of the total event cost covered by the HOT funds. They requested $10,000 for advertisement under the advertisement category, and then under the promotion of arts and for musical, they requested $40,000 there. Yes, that's the 50 there. They expect 2,000 people and estimated number of nights, 1 to 2 nights, and they do reserve a room block they do reserve a room block. And they did a very good job at providing their marketing strategy and schedule of events for the future, and you should have a copy of that. I emailed a copy of it to you all, and talks about their event overviews and their social media campaigns as well. So if you'd like to come up, if commissioners have any questions. Okay, go ahead.
Felicia's in Hawaii, so y'all get me today. Thank you for hearing us today, Commissioners. My name is Lindsay Wheeler, and I'm the City Administrator Administrator for the City of Livonia. Thank you for your presentation, Brenda. So, as some of you may know, we do host quite a few events in Livonia annually, the 4th of July being probably the largest attended, last year with 8,000 in attendance, and this year we do project 10. Additional to that, Felicia mentioned in the application that we're requesting funds for our second largest attended event, which is the Christmas in the Park. Last year, 2,500 people attended, and that was our 31st year of producing that event. And third from that is our Hometown Hoedown, which is a newer event. This will be our third year producing that event in our downtown as an effort to rejuvenate our downtown space and bring events to that area. So we do remain incredibly committed to producing these events, all of which are free to our community members and the surrounding communities. So your support on these three particular events would be greatly appreciated because, of course, we do continue to produce events all throughout the year with the remaining funds collected from the Municipal Development District, which is funded by sales tax, and then a combination of city funds funded by our local hot tax revenue. So last year, our budget was $107,000 for total events, and this year it is budgeted at over $200,000. So we are very blessed to be able to produce those events. Nonetheless, these are the same funds that produce very important infrastructure improvements for us, such as water, wastewater, and roadway repairs. And so we do have to make choices. So your support greatly helps us to continue to produce these wonderful events and not make any sacrifices on our important infrastructure projects. Thank you.
It's for the commissioners, they may not know what your title is with the city. What is it?
I am the city administrator for the city of Livonia.
So that's synonymous with city manager,
Yes, essentially same thing.
making sure.
Do y'all have any questions?
Well, she's going to get up and tell you that we're challenged with the amount of funds that we've already given out and historical values. How did y'all, if you don't receive the funds that you're asking for, you're going to have to decide where you're going to cut back on your spending, or, how much are you able to take and garnish on your sales tax in town? What number is that?
Sure. So, yeah, to be fully transparent, we budgeted these funds already, right? And so to your point about the 2025/2026 reference on the application, because of course our budget started in October and will run us all the way through September. So we are prepared to produce these events regardless, but the help will be greatly appreciated and will allow us to produce, further infrastructure projects for the city.
How much do we have left?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay. So just a reminder, we did budget to expend $150,000 this year. We have $20,000 left in the budget to expend. And it is my recommendation that that the court considers awarding the $20,000 to the Livonia Municipal Development District for their future projects, and then they will have an opportunity for 2026 when those applications come back open in our fiscal year beginning October 1 to apply for the next fiscal year.
The other was the Chamber of Commerce. That we had 10,000 and 10,000 last year.
Yes, sir. It was, I believe it was 5,000 and 5,000.
5 and 5.
Yeah, so a total of 10,000. But when I emailed, and I may have emailed Lindsay, I think, when I emailed regarding giving them some suggestions on how the hotel occupancy tax funds can be used, and I recommended the 4th of July event, just really getting them to have a full understanding of what the funds can be used for, because the report that was provided for me from the 5,000 that was given to the chambers would not ordinarily be considered applicable use of the funds. They use the funds for like a one-day event, a shredding event, and so I educated them on how they could use the funds and request more if they needed it, because I do understand that 4th of July events, and they have some pretty big headliners coming for their 4th of July events, and those are things that have to be paid way back when, yeah. So, and they're not cheap, and I'm fully aware of that. So, 20,000 is what we have left in the budget. I don't recommend that we exceed that, even if we were to pull from the fund balance, because I want to try to build up that fund balance for next year so that we're able to provide to any organization that may approach the court requesting funds. But also a reminder, if we do, if the court does award the $20,000, then that will deplete the budget for this year, and so the applications basically will close for this fiscal year.
All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the 20,000 as requested by the Livonia, or what has been, what was left in the fund to the Livonia Municipal Development District.
I'll make that motion that we award Livonia MDD the $20,000 that's left in the budgeted amount. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pardo and seconded by Commissioner Aiken. Do we have any other discussion on agenda item number 10? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes.
Yeah, and I think y'all must not have understood the sense of urgency that we had when she sent those requests out, but we will be allowing people to submit. This time, we're gonna get all of the requests in, and then that way, money can be allocated, in how, whatever the court decides, but at least we'll have all the applications. They'll only be accepted early enough for us to figure out what we're gonna do and put it in the budget, so. Thank you.
Agenda item number 11, we're going to discuss, take action on development agreement with Clear Fork Creek Solar LLC to review applications submitted April 30th, 2025, as may be amended. This is the first process that Clear Fork needs to take with us before we review any offers. Am I correct, Ms. Blakely? Yes, okay. Do you want to come up and say anything, Ms. Blakely? Okay.
You timed that perfectly.
You never know, right? Hi, Judge, Commissioners, I'm Blakely Fernandez. I'm with Bracewell, and my firm has been working with the county for the last several years on exploring various economic development opportunities. And you've got before you an application for a solar project. I don't know if that application is in your packet this week, but that it's been submitted to the county judge, and it's for a 600 megawatt solar project, about $800 million worth of proposed investment. The way that we start this process is once you've got an application in front of you, and we deem it to be a complete application, meaning it's feasible within the county structure, then the judge will circulate it to the rest of the commissioners, to the other jurisdictions, and then we start a process of considering a reinvestment zone that would be required, and then considering an abatement agreement. And so we are at the very early stages. Right now, what we're asking is that a development agreement be entered into between the county and the developer. That indicates the developer will cover all costs related to this process, so that you're not incurring legal fees and other fees going forward. And so this is the way we start. It doesn't obligate you to approve anything, but it does ensure that as we move forward, the developer is responsible for all the costs going forward.
Now, there was a bond, $30,000 bond that they put up, or what is it they have to submit to the court?
So it's a not to exceed $30,000 fee. And so, like I say, it doesn't obligate the court to approve anything. You still have discretion, and we'll go through each step of the process, but it does ensure that the developer will cover all of the costs, and that you're not, every time a developer presents something to you, you're not accruing a lot of fees.
I brought my copy. Okay.
Y'all want to look at that right quick? I'm gonna let, not all of us have that copy, but I want the commissioners to.
It didn't make it into our packet.
I'm sorry.
make it
I
in
think,
our
we were, I think, a day late. I wanted to make sure they signed it before it was in your packet, so I cost you a day.
Commissioners, I just wanted to remind you, so this is, I think it was just Commissioner Martin and Commissioner Purville over here, I believe, the last time that we went through this process. This is a similar, same type of agreement, where we did receive a check for, whatever the amount was in, but we'll receive a check for $29,000 because they've already paid $1,000 to submit their application. this, they'll submit their check for $29,000, which covers, her fees and administrative fees. But that, like she said, that's just to get the ball rolling, to be able to even enter into negotiations to present something to the court for review.
I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but,
Blakely Fernandez.
yeah, Ms. Blakely. So, last
This
time
is
they were
Highway
here,
87. The majority
and
of
one
it
of
is
the
down
issues
in,
that we had
in
prior
Cattle Land,
application
and I
was
mean, we got one
understanding,
county road that goes over
the
here,
implications to the
another one that
county
goes
with
over here,
the 10 years or whatever period.
but between Nixon and Pandora.
Whatever it goes.
You know
Is
where
that
the
unreasonable?
tallies live?
I asked them, they
Yeah.
said they would do that analysis and provide it to us. Was that an unreasonable request? Do you think they'll do it, or is that something we can
I
make?
think we
Just for
need to
financial analysis of the depreciation of the facility?
find out.
No, no, I'm looking for what a proration
Solar,
or an
100%
estimation of
solar
what taxes would be.
Yep.
So that when we get to that 10th year and it rolls out, and then it all rolls back to ad
We-
valorem taxes and their
Right.
depreciation's 100%.
Right, right. So we do have that schedule, and that'll be part of the application presentation that we'll make in a couple of weeks.
All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion that we go into this agreement process with Clear Fork Creek Solar LLC solar project.
Make a motion that we proceed with the agreement for engaging Bracewell to deal with Clear Fork Creek Solar. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner Curto. Do you have any other discussion regarding agenda item number 11? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. I'll go ahead and sign it, and Ms. Nettles, I think you have to sign it too.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Blakely.
Back in the bag again.
Agenda item number 12, we have Commissioner Aiken, Precinct 4, bring to the table, discuss and take action on approving the Wilson County fraud, waste, and abuse policy. You probably need to make a motion to take from the table. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we take the fraud, waste, and abuse policy from the table.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner Keen to take from the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? It's been taken from the table for discussion.
Basically, the auditor presented this to us, and we went through, dealt with the county attorney. I also reached out to the TAC attorneys that we have at our disposal and addressed various concerns and issues, and I think that we've come up with something that is a policy that we can take and let the whole court review and determine whether or not it's something that is in the best interest, but we do need to have a policy in place.
Yeah, so my understanding, we do need to have this policy in place in order to start getting our grants in place. So, just so that we can cut to the chase, Ms. Nettles, what changes or additions or do we know? Because I'm reading through it, and I don't have the old one.
Number 7,
Number 7,
basically consequences of violations.
which one in particular?
The whole paragraph.
The whole paragraph?
Yes, sir.
So the original one, Judge, only had the first paragraph. And so what was added was the following paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And have we determined how we're gonna incorporate this into the personnel manual? And is everybody gonna get one of these and have to sign it, return it, so they're aware of it, or how's that gonna work?
HR? What would you recommend? Because I see that in other departments in the state, it's amended to their policy, they have to sign it, agree to it.
That could be done.
That could be it? Okay.
Can you make sure that that's on the agenda for the next court, please? Or if you need to send it through somebody, send it to me and I'll let you know.
Make a motion that we approve the Wilson County fraud, abuse, and waste policy as presented to the court today.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, second by Commissioner King. Any other discussion or further discussion regarding agenda item number 12? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it. Agenda item number 12 passes. Agenda item number 13, we move to Ms. Christina Moody, County Treasurer, discuss and approve the bank depository contract for South Trust Bank.
Good morning. Obviously, back in February, we did one bank through the South Trust that y'all did approve, and this is just coming in, signing off, and starting a new 4-year contract with South Trust. And everybody should have a copy in their packet or in their binder.
We don't have one. We don't have one.
Okay, I did email that and forward that on, so my apologies. I do not have Trust's, because that would be included in there.
We don't have one?
I have this one if you want to sign, but.
Yeah, if you have one, we'll take a look at it right quick. We'll pass it down to
Yeah.
Commissioner Mark and he'll work his way this way.
So you said this is gonna be for 4 years?
Yes, sir.
Any renewals? Any renewals?
What, and for what you say?
Renewals?
Extensions after the 4 years.
Done or what?
She's,
No,
this is her on and saying, no, it's just a
No,
4-year contract.
Commissioner, I looked at it, it's, once it expires, it's good for, some period of time right after, but then there's no renewal. It terminates, so the county to consider either a new vendor or submit bids again.
Is it my understanding that they were the only one that submitted an application?
They were, and I know that was asked at court. I did reach out to 2 of them. The one did call me back saying that they did not just submit, it was just customer service representative, I think, just replying to my message, and the other one I never heard back from. So, but they were the only ones.
Okay.
They were emailed, of course, the bid packets were emailed to the banks that we have here, of course, Randolph Brooks, Wells Fargo, All City Bank, South Trust, and I believe that's it. I'm leaving one off, but they were emailed to them.
And South Trust is the one that has had it in the past.
Yes, sir, they have had, I know since my time being in office as well as working in the treasurer's office, before that as assistant, and then I believe years before that as well. We did have, I believe, Wells Fargo, maybe way back when. I'm not confident on that.
Thank you.
And I don't know why, but it's sticking in my mind, but isn't there a maximum term that they can have? Is this it? Is 4 years the maximum that they can have, or and there was, or there's a minimum? I can't remember.
As far as the same bank every.
No,
Or
no, it's top, before it has to be bid again.
Yes, it is 4 years, but then you can also, what we did kind of shortly after I got in office, you can extend it for an additional 2 if you'd like to. If not, then you will have to go out for bids once again for an additional 4 years. But it can be extended for 2. And approved and brought to court, to the Commissioner's Court. My apologies, though, for not having extra just in case. But yes, that was emailed to the county attorney's office and reviewed.
One of the things is that in the initial bid, it does require, I think, anyone who wants to bid a payment of like $100,000 or something in the application. And that may be a deterrent for some banks not wanting to pay that to be considered. And that may be why we're just getting one bid from the existing bank, but once you require a bidder to pay that kind of a sum just to bid, could be a deterrent.
How did that come about? What's the ideology of the fee?
Like I guess just to secure that they do have.
It's just to secure security that
Yeah,
they are
security.
going, that they
Okay.
have the funds to
So-
be able to hold our funds.
If you're awarded it, then I would see that being one thing, but if you weren't awarded it and you tried to get it, then I would think that a total refund would be due of the monies.
I don't believe that's what the contract provides. I need to review it, because I did see the initial bid, but I think sending in an application or sending in a bid with a check for $100,000 might be deterring some banks from saying no.
Oh, I would think so.
I don't know,
I mean-
I don't know if it's returned or not, I don't recall. It might be, but still, I mean, that's quite an investment to make for an application for a county with the amount of funds that we deal with.
I would
Just
have
a
liked to
thought.
have looked
Just a
into
thought.
that before this process. I mean, how did that come about? Why did that come about? Is that something that is normal in and day out business?
I believe it is kind of the practice, but considering the amount of funds that we deal with in relation to other governmental entities, location and convenience, that may be why we don't have the Bank of Americas or the Wells Fargo.
Well, there's a Wells Fargo and a Randolph, there's plenty of other depositories in
There are.
town.
There's in a lot of other treasurers that I do speak with, counties, conference, you name it. A lot of them are the hometown ones. Obviously, they do have your bigger counties, will have your bigger banks, they deal with Wells Fargo, things like that. They've got funds.
But it
and
is a
maybe that's why.
practice, it is a normal practice, and not something that we just have come up with and yearly just automatically not reviewed. So it is part of the bidding process, it's
It's
just.
$100,000
I-
kind of a standard?
I believe it's around that range.
Yes, usually around that. I've
Yes.
looked at other counties, and some of the other counties usually range between 75,000 and above. Just so that everybody knows that this isn't just a.
This is a
local
standard
county.
practice
Yes.
across the board.
Yeah.
We've got 254 counties, and the majority of them are doing the same thing. That makes me feel better, rather than we're sitting here going, well, we might not have gotten anybody else
No,
because
we are,
we
but I
priced
think it's
ourselves
a-
out of the market.
That's
Yes,
a concern.
and
that-
some of the smaller counties also are doing this, just to give the commissioners some comfort.
And it is a non-refundable deal. If they bid, they gotta send a check for $100,000 and
Yeah, they're not
they don't,
accepted with
they
the
don't
bid, and
get
that's just
accepted, they
returned.
don't, they use
It does not use
$100,000.
It is refundable.
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
refundable.
It
Okay.
is refundable?
Yes, sir, it
Okay.
is refundable.
Yes.
But that might be, because I know everyone.
You're
always
still
looks
tying
there.
up funds for a time period and may not have,
Yeah, and that's
A
no
return.
different than any construction bidding process where they provide a bid bond that guarantees that their price and their terms and conditions are good for the, whatever time is specified in the bid package. That is not an unusual thing in contracting world at all.
Just wanted to make sure and clarify that.
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion on agenda item 15.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bank depository contract for South Trust Bank.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Perdomo, seconded by Commissioner King. Do you have any other discussion regarding agenda item 13? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes.
you sitting or standing? Yeah. Oh, nothing to say, okay.
Agenda item number 14, we have our County Sheriff Jim Stewart for our Sheriff's Office Progress Report.
Got nothing me today unless y'all have anything y'all want to ask me about.
Glad to have you back. You feeling well?
Great.
Okay, good?
I'm good.
Good.
Nice to be back.
I still think you grew about 2 inches.
I might. Get my knee worked on, I might get another inch or two.
Agenda item number 15, Genevieve Martinez, County Clerk, discuss and take action on Commissioners Court minutes.
Yes, Judge, and they've been reviewed by the county attorney and the
Sorry.
auditor's office.
Commissioners will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for April 7th, 14th, and 28th.
28.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Thurlow. Any other discussion regarding agenda item number 15? Hear none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. Agenda item number 16, we have Ms. Jaylynn Bodiford, our Human Resource Specialist, presentation of payroll and personnel changes. I didn't meant to say payroll, you're not on parole.
Rhiannon Hamlin was terminated from her position as a corrections officer for the Sheriff's Department effective May 2nd, and Donald Hill Jr. is retiring from his position as a sergeant for the Sheriff's Department effective May 31st.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item 17, Ms. Brenda Trevino, discuss take action on county bills.
I have a total, let me go ahead. Of $1,673,039.85. The biggest chunk of that, just to kind of give you an overview, is our annual pro rata amount that's due that we split with our other districts to Atascosa County for the
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bill.
Make a motion that we accept the report from the auditor to pay the bills of the amount of $1,673,039.85.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner King. Any other discussion regarding agenda item number 17? Hear none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I thought maybe y'all wanted to stay a little longer. Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Aiken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.